This might very well be the most disturbing and insane horror movie I've ever seen. What is happening, guys? Back at you with another video. So we had the highly anticipated movie of Terrifier 3 come out over the weekend. So I went to go check it out while I was out of town. And I just gotta say, man, the things I could say about this movie. So I'm more of a recent fan. I recently became a fan, like brand new. Watched the movies, All Hallows Eve, both of the Terrifier movies. I watched them for the first time about 2 weeks before I went to go see Terrifier 3. So I am a recent turn new fan. And upon watching those movies, I just really enjoyed what they were able to do. And I just really started liking the character of Art the Clown. Like, he's hilarious, he's funny at times, he's very sadistic and gruesome, and honestly just has the makings of becoming a icon, honestly. So honestly, I was actually really excited to actually check out Terrifier 3, and I was interested in seeing where they were going with the story, what they're going to do with this movie, how gruesome or how much of a gore fest this movie was going to be as compared to like the other two. And I gotta say, I was not disappointed with this movie. I went into it and I got exactly what I was expecting and wanting from this movie. The gore, the kills, all exciting, and Art the Clown being his funny, gruesome, sadistic self, of course. Really, what was interesting about this movie was the actual characters themselves when it comes to like Sienna and Jonathan, to where we're continuing this story set about 5 years after Terrifier 2, to where we're seeing how they're dealing with this PTSD that they're going through, how they're coping with it, how they're dealing with it. You know, we get Sienna, who was basically in a rehabilitation, and she finally is released. She gets to go live with her aunt and uncle and her cousin. We see Jonathan, who's in college now, and he basically is just dealing with it by not trying to think about it, just trying to move on with his life. And seeing these characters deal with that, it really gets you more invested with these characters. Like, you're already invested with them as it is from the second movie, but you get really more attached to these characters and more invested with these characters, just seeing what they're going through, seeing what they're dealing with. One thing I like about Sienna, the character of Sienna, is that she really is a badass in this film when it comes down to it. Just as like she was in the second one, she really is becoming one of those final girls that I'm really starting to like, to where she's becoming a favorite. She's slowly climbing up to that leaderboard. She's not like one of those helpless final girls. She shows you how badass she is, that she does everything she can, and she will go head to head against Art the Clown just to protect the family and protect her loved ones. Art the Clown is still hilarious and such a likable character. Like I was saying, he's, you know, becoming a recent fan. I just really liked what they were able to do with the character of Art the Clown. In this movie, he's hilarious. He's still doing his whole mime act going on, so it's just funny how he doesn't speak or do anything at all, but just props to the character, the actor who plays him, to where he has to use his facial expressions. He has to express how he is, what he's doing throughout each scene, and it's almost like you can actually hear what he would say if he was talking for real through his facial expressions. So the actor does such a great job with that. You know, Art the Clown in this movie is still as gruesome, horrific, and sadistic as in the other movies. And I just laughed my ass off with Art the Clown. Like, seriously, they're not to get too spoilery or anything like that, but there's a couple of scenes in here where I just laughed my ass off. There's one part where he smacks Sienna in the back of the head a couple of times, and it's just funny the way he does that. There's this one scene that I'm not going to spoil too much, but he does meet an actual Santa, and they're in a bar, and it's just, when you get to that scene, if you watch the movie, it's just hilarious. And speaking of Santa, the actual setting of this movie, to where it's set during the Christmas time, I honestly like the how it's set during this Christmas time. You know, it's set during this whole theme of Christmas, dealing with decorations and things like that, and everything. Like, I just like the atmosphere, the way that it's actually interesting how Art actually uses the theme of Christmas with some of his kills, to where he's using the Christmas theme, and it's just funny how he's using that to incorporate that theme into his kills, some of his kills at least. And speaking of kills, these kills in here, they are they are gruesome and horrific. Like, this one definitely steps up from like the second movie. The second movie had some of the, you know, most horrific kills in there. This one definitely steps it up more, to where we probably get more horrific kills in this one than we do in previous entries. I could definitely see some people saying how this one was more gruesome, more horrific, and more they're able to find more kills in this one that were probably beat out, kills from the first and second movie. To say that this is a gore fest goes without saying. Like I said, this is a gore fest galore. Like it outruns the first and second one probably, or at least is on par with the first and second one to how much gore this movie is. And speaking of the gore looks so much more realistic. That budget is really showing in this movie to where we could see some of the special effects, the practical effects that they use in this movie are so on point. They are amazing what they're able to do with them, that they look so realistic. It actually looks like it's actual limbs and actual gore and body parts and everything like that going on in this movie, to where it's so lifelike that you will actually believe that they're doing it for real. But there is some things that this movie does that the other two didn't actually do, and this is going to go into how people can actually handle these movies. And there is a couple scenes in here to where Art the Clown actually does, dive into killing kids. He doesn't, they don't necessarily show him actually killing the kids. It's more of, off screen kind of stuff, to where you hear chopping or you hear different things going on, and maybe they'll show you like the aftermath of it, but it doesn't physically show him actually killing the kids. So if you're not able to stomach that, to where the aftermath of showing what he actually did, then you might not be able to get through this movie. I actually had some people walk out during this movie when I went to go watch it. I don't know if it was necessarily because of the the whole killing kids part or some other part, but there was a couple of people that actually did walk out of the theater during the time I went to go watch this. And with this movie also, it digs a little bit more into the lore of Art the Clown himself, and some of the things that were going on in the second movie that you had questions about. It kind of answers a little bit, or at least some of those questions, and it digs a little bit into the lore. We don't get a whole lot of lore, but we do get a little more lore into Art himself, the entity or the demon that takes control of him, or is associated with him. And we dive a little bit deeper into the character of Sienna, like this whole whole thing or deal that was going on with her dad in the second movie. We dive a little deeper into that. We don't get a whole lot more lore, but they answer a couple questions here and there, and we get a little bit more lore. I'm hoping for future movies that we do dive a little bit more into there. We get a little bit more lore going on, and hopefully they can be able to answer some questions in the future movies. Because honestly, I'm excited to see, like, just becoming a recent fan. Like I said, I'm honestly invested in this story. I'm invested in these characters and seeing how this story unfolds for future movies. When it comes to the characters of Art the Clown and Sienna herself, they are slowly becoming that, horror duo that I'm really becoming fond of, or, that's becoming a new favorite of mine. They're slowly climbing that board to becoming favorites when it comes to like a duo in horror. You got like Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, Sidney Prescott and Ghostface, or Nancy and Freddy Krueger. They're, those are some of my top favorite duos in horror. And when it comes to the duo of Sienna and Art the Clown, they're slowly reaching into that, favorite board to becoming a new horror duo favorite. And I'm just interested in the future of these characters, and where the movies are actually going to go, how the story is going to unfold. I'm really interested in investing in that and seeing what happens next. An interesting and good point that I heard that was brought up is that when it comes to Art the Clown himself, the character, he's really slowly becoming an icon, like a horror icon, really. And it's being said how recently, or at least recent memory, we haven't really had a new horror icon, just come along and just slowly reach up to that icon status. And I really do believe Art the Clown is really slowly reaching into that icon status, upon, compared to like recent years, we haven't really had anybody, or a horror character or any horror icon that just revealed themselves over the past couple years that's really reached the heights of how Art the Clown has reached. Even before watching these movies, I knew of Art the Clown. I've heard of Art the Clown. I've heard of the Terrifier movies, and it was always like I was curious about these movies. And like, of course, when I said I recently saw them for the first time, and I just honestly really enjoyed the movies and really was interested in this character of Art the Clown. So the good point that's being brought up is that Art the Clown is really just slowly reaching that sort of icon status when it comes to horror movies. So that is honestly just a testament to how they developed this character, how they're doing the movies, and the creators behind his movies. Just all props to them. Now, I did see a recent interview with the director Damien Leone, and he's been saying how he could really go for like another movie or another 2 movies, depending on how long he wants to go for, and be able to complete and tell this story. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited for a new movie. That's already been confirmed that Terrifier 4 will be coming to us. So I'm excited for that, and being able to see how he, continues the story and where they go with these characters, with Sienna, with Art the Clown, this whole entity and this whole lore that they're going to dig into. I'm really excited for that, and seeing how everything unfolds in the future. He was also saying how this is kind of his, if he was comparing it to like another movie, he was saying like how this is his Star Wars Empire Strikes Back type of movie. And I could kind of see that with the way that the events play out in this movie, to where we're kind of left hanging, sort of a cliffhanger at the end of this movie, to the same way that Empire Strikes Back was left off on. So I could kind of see those comparisons he was kind of making. But overall, I really did enjoy this movie. I probably prefer Terrifier 2 just a tad smidge, a little bit more than this one, but this one still it met my expectations. I got exactly what I wanted out of this movie. We're able to get Art the Clown still have fun with this character, have Sienna as a badass final girl in this movie. So I really did get what I wanted out of this movie, and was honestly, it met my expectations, and it did such a great job telling the story and continuing the story with this movie. And I just am excited for this next movie that we're going to be getting with Terrifier 4, and if we get Terrifier 5 for all that matter, I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be there when it comes out, checking out this movie, or checking out that movie, see how the story unfolds. I'm interested in seeing where they take the story and where they take these characters. So I'll be there. Opening weekend, checking it out. But yeah, that's exactly what I thought about Terrifier 3. Let me know down in the comments below. Were you excited for this movie? Did you check it out? What'd you think of it? Definitely like to hear your thoughts on it. But that's going to do it all for this video. Hopefully y'all all enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe and turn notifications on so you know I post another video. Hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you on the next one.